One of the fascinating things I find with modern pop culture discourse is this idea of spoiler culture. Now, there's plenty of different takes on this, but what fascinates me is how people want to find an excuse to spoil movies for people. This is not necessarily condemnation in regards to critical analysis or people wanting to discuss movies, but the idea that people deliberately go out of their way to ruin a piece of media just because in many cases. Now, let's get to the brass tacks of this. Movies do eventually get spoiled. And that's mostly because of how pop culture becomes part of our discourse. Before I say anything else, let's just flat out say I'm not going to be talking about any of this recent spoils for any of the recent pop culture phenomenon. What I want to talk about is how spoilers have affected media in the past and affect media now. So first off, let's look historically at pop culture. Movies that have a cultural impact typically become part of the lexicon. We were joking as we were going into Avengers Endgame that when we get out, we've got to pull the "I can't believe that Darth Vader was Luke's father." That is quite possibly one of the most infamous pop culture reveals in recent history. What makes that more impactful than most of the other spoilers? Yes, even 40 odd years ago, George Lucas went out of his way to make sure that thing didn't get spoiled before the screening. I mean, once the movie screened, you can't stop this type of stuff. When people first went into that movie, going in cold, they knew it was a Star Wars movie. You know, at the end of the day, the good guys are going to win. Yeah, okay, maybe not in Empire. But typically you go into a story knowing certain plot beat. You've watched plenty of these things, you tend to go in with expectations. And a good dramatic moment like this does come out of nowhere. And the only way you can protect these things is trying to stop spoilers. Mark Hamill talks about this.
By the second film, that's when the scrutiny became more intense.
Yeah.
And there was a wonderful substitute revelation in that scene. The way we filmed it, Vader said, "You don't know the truth. Obi-Wan killed your father." And the idea of Alec Guinness being the real villain, I thought, wow, what a spectacular twist. And it's just as you see in the film. No, search your feelings, it's... the director, Irvin Kershner, took me aside. He came to my dressing room, actually, and he said, "I'm going to tell you something. I know it, George Lucas knows it, and when I tell you, you'll know it, but if it leaks, we'll know it was you." So I said, what? And he handed me the piece of paper that said, "I am your father." I was shocked. I said, is that true? He said, "Well, you search your feelings and we're going to play it like, yeah, it is." So, oh my gosh, it was way before social media and all of that, but yeah. I had to keep it the secret for about a year and a half.
And of course, that secret only got then, maybe passed on to like 2 or 3 other people. It'd have to be passed on to James Earl Jones to read the line, and it would be passed on to the editor and maybe the sound mixer. The more people you get involved in a secret project, there's more of a chance it's going to spread. The fact that it didn't spread before the movie opened is particularly really good, because then it became impactful. And people still, quoting it today. But we also hear things like when Terminator Genesis came out, people were pissed off that the big reveal in the movie that John Connor was a Terminator was spoiled in the trailers. I mean, it wasn't a great film anyway. To be honest, I like it. I think it's just fun trash. It's not a good Terminator movie, but it's fun trash. And that's the other argument that people go, "Oh well, all these trailers are spoiling movies, so why shouldn't I?" But could you imagine the Darth Vader reveal being in a trailer? Could you imagine social media with that in mind now? Empire might not have had that impact. So creators very much know that these things can spoil movies, and yet you've still got people who turn around and think it's their moral obligation to spoil a film. The Channers type of people, of course they're going to spoil films, and people are assholes because that's why they go to 4chan. But people are now thinking it's their duty to go on other social medias and just blurt out all these emotionally significant spoilers just for the fucking lols, or to gain some asshole points with the rest of the other assholes. And that's kind of a very shitty behavior, especially when these filmmakers specifically go out of the way to try and, hide a lot of this deep emotional beats. They have NDAs, they have social media blockades, they have all this stuff. The Russo brothers basically went, you have until this day to not post any spoilers. Once that's done, once that day is passed, by all means. And for the most part, people have actually appreciated that and have actually capitulated. The actors themselves who took behind the scenes photos and that didn't post anything until after this blackout got lifted. We see this movie as caught on very much emotionally with the audience. People talk about how much they cried during this movie. I cried during this movie. And yet for some people, they very much want to ruin that for others. Now, I know one of my favorite YouTubers very much doesn't like spoiler culture, or at least not spoilering culture. But at least he has the decency to turn around and when he makes a video talking about spoilers, he'll give the appropriate warnings. And that's not the issue. It's fine to talk about something, but you gotta at least say, hey, we're talking about this. Here's time enough to click off. I have no issue with that. I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's funny how a lot of these people go, I am exposing the thing, I am doing this, it's for the lols, people don't care. And the thing is, objectively, people do care enough to not have these things spoiled. They care enough that they don't get these deep emotional bits spoiled for themselves, and they also care enough that they don't spoil it for other people. And this is why I love out of context memes. Like, I love you 3000. That means nothing to no one else. You can just post that. People know it. People who know it also can get a little bit sad over it, and people go, why are you sad over that? I liked randomly posting cheeseburgers, because if you know the reference, you go, oh. It's same with the year before with Infinity War. The ending of Infinity War was such a big deal, and because because it didn't get spoiled, it became much more of a big deal than if the trailers and everything had shown Thanos winning and doing the click. Part of me was there going, they haven't got the balls. Surely they haven't got the balls to do this. And as soon as that happened, I went, oh my God, I'm so happy they had the balls. Because I've read the comics. I know Thanos had to win. Thanos had to win for Thanos to lose. I mean, it's how it happens is completely differently. And I think if they'd went for the original storyline, it would have been a lot more unsatisfactory. Not having that thing spoiled affected a lot of people. A lot of people were pissed that Thanos won. Of course, some people forgetting that Infinity War was supposed to be 2 parts. People were genuinely under the impression that this is where they were going left off, forgetting there was another movie coming in later. And everyone was just there going, well, how are they going to fix this? It's like, wait for the next movie. How much more blunt could you be? Wait for the next movie. Yeah, it's a year away. So what? Let them craft it. Let them get this right. And guess what? It was. We're probably not going to get another Endgame in quite a while. At least nothing with this kind of build-up and 10 years worth of character development. DC definitely is not going to be able to do that. They tried it with 3 films. I guess ultimately I come down to the idea with spoilers of just don't be a dick. Simple as that. You share your memes, share the fun stuff. Just don't be a dick about it. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this to enjoy ourselves. It's pure escapism at the end of the day. And I've had movies spoiled for me. I've had the entire plot of Dark Knight Rises told me, even after like several times of telling this fucking idiot not to tell me it, and he just told me it anyway. And so when I went into that movie, I didn't have the movie telling me things, I had this idiot tell me things in my head the entire fucking time. And that does ruin the experience. I mean, Dark Knight Rises isn't a good film anyway. I'd rather have watched that movie with my own experiences, with my own filters, with my own perspectives, experience it in my own way without this little fucking annoying voice in my head. And people who know that particular fucking voice is in my head, you know how fucking annoying that voice can be. So thanks for watching. I have a Patreon now, so please click down the link below and throw me some spare change. I'm going to have a scrolling thing about here with all the current 1 person currently subscribed. Let's just wait for it to scroll up. And while that's happening, please click like, share and subscribe. And please subscribe to my Patreon. All my backers will get early release of my videos, including this one. And the Loch Ness Monster tier patrons will be getting some bonus materials. So thanks for watching and see ya.